Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's September the 15th, 2023. It's Friday. It's mail day. We actually got through this week all right. It was kind of rainy on again, off again because of something that's coming, but made it through. Most of the days when I went to work, I didn't get too wet or didn't get wet at all. It just happened to be the gap in where the storm systems were moving through. But I'm glad to get through the first part of this week. You always look forward to the weekends, but this weekend might be a little different. If you're watching the Weather Network, Hurricane Lee is set sights on this area, on Moncton and the Fundy Coast, and yeah, it's scheduled to hit tomorrow. So right now it is a Category 2, I think, hurricane. And if you know anything about hurricanes, they like warm water and they play in the warm water and become more violent in the warm water. So as it gets further north, the water seems to cool a little bit as it gets close to Canada and northern United States like Maine. So it's hoping it will be downgraded to a Category 1 hurricane, maybe even a tropical storm by the time it makes landfall here tomorrow. Tomorrow in 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think is when they're predicting it to hit. It'll still be, this area is supposed to hit like 130 km/h winds, maybe 100 millimeters of rain. Any places along the coast are going to see big waves coming through, and unfortunately it looks like it's going to hit during high tide at the Bay of Fundy, which might make it even more precarious for places like Grand Manan or St. John area, anywhere up along the coast, and then southern shore of Nova Scotia as well. It could be passing through that area, so they're going to see lots of activity there. Tomorrow in the morning when I do That Dad Guy Answers, because that's my next video I will put out after today's, I'll answer your questions tomorrow. And maybe even have some questions you want to add in real quickly onto last week's part 83 for me to answer tomorrow, maybe about the hurricane, who knows. But I probably will have that done and uploaded before it even hits. I'll give you a little bit of a weather update though, either way in the morning. And then if it does hit, and I might be doing a short or some sort of video just to let you know what's going on in this area. That's my plan anyways. All right, let's get to today's video. We've talked about what might be happening tomorrow, and I've been getting lots of inquiries about it. That's why I wanted to address it today for those of you who have been watching the weather systems and noticed that it was targeting Atlantic Canada. So yeah, it is coming this way. Well, this week at the mailbox has been very nice. So lots of stuff came in, some officials, lots of friend mail, some surprises in there. Every week has been fantastic of late. So I'm very pleased with all of you guys who continue to participate in this. And those of you that are subscribers on my channel, thank you, because I get messages from those of you that are out there. If you are new and have just found me for the first time, but you do like the content, go ahead and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers as a community. Yeah, it's kind of blown away that we are almost at my goal. That was the goal. I might have to set a new goal after that. I don't know, but yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. Go ahead, subscribe, like, share with your friends, and leave positive comments. Appreciate that. All right, let's get in. Enough of all that. Let's get into my official cards that came through. How about the first one? A Tausendschen postcard. This one comes from Germany, from Hamburg to be specific. And this comes from Carl. He says, do you know that there are already more than 1,000 different Tausendschen postcards? I had no idea that there was 1,000 different varieties of these postcards. They are fantastic. If you haven't gotten them yet, hopefully you will. They're all sparkly ones. They all kind of have this frilled edge on it. Very fancy. My friend Kyler in Prince Edward Island, he had ordered some. Now, not this summer, but the summer last, we had a meetup there, and so he brought a stack of them with him that he had that we were able to leaf through and see all the different varieties. He said, yeah, they were a bit more expensive to order them, but it is worth it in the quality of stock, the image that's on it. Really cool. I want to show you the stamps that are on the back as well from Germany. So thank you so much, Carl, for this card and for the information about this type of card. All right, this next card I have, it comes from China. So we have this. Her name is Liang. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And she says she lives in the capital city of Hanari province. It's hard. I'm going to show you why it's hard for me to read this. Not that her writing is hard, but the cancellations have gone right over what she's written. So the dark ink on dark ink makes it difficult to read. But look at the stamps, fantastic. Really like this colorful one, but the images here in these that are all linked together, so they must be a series that have all come out together. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. This card comes from 11,000 kilometers away is what she put at the bottom. We are far apart, but through post-crossing, the world is a little bit smaller. All right, this next one doesn't come from quite as far a distance, but comes from the United States, from the state of Wisconsin. For those of you who don't know about Wisconsin, this card will give you some information. State flower is the violet. They have the American robin as their state bird. They are the biggest cheese producer in all the United States. It says here, Wisconsin is the leading cheese producing state, making 26% of the country's cheese. The state's cheesemakers use about 90% of Wisconsin's milk supply to make more than 2 billion pounds of cheese every year. That's a lot of cheese. Here are the stamps. Specifically, this one here, the elephants. And I say specifically because Casey, who sent this, says he celebrates all efforts made to preserve African and Asian elephants. So it is very nice to have that stamp. He says, do I have any of these stamps? I have received a couple of these stamps on cards before. I'm not sure about this one though. And I don't have them in my collection because I don't cut off the stamps off the envelopes or off the cards that get sent. The only stamps that I put in the collection are ones that are loose that get sent to me. So yeah, so if you put beautiful stamps on the cards, they stay on the cards because I love the cards as well. So I wouldn't want to deface them. I wouldn't want to steam them off and try to get them off that way. The stamps that have been put on the cards are just as much as important as the card itself. Not maybe as important as the message though. So thank you, Casey. I have another one that came from the United States too. This one comes from Jason and it comes from Florida. Now, I did get a little bit confused by whether it was Florida or not. It says, greetings from Florida, USA. He must be traveling now because when I went to register it, it showed that he was in California. So maybe he is currently visiting California. If you're watching, Jason, you can let me know. But I do appreciate mailbox cards, and so this one's specifically cool at Mickey Mouse's house. And he and Pluto were there getting the... Pluto or is it Goofy? No, it's Pluto. It doesn't have the big teeth now. So Pluto and Mickey were collecting the mail. He said they're not very far from Disney, but he says, I visited Moncton and enjoyed it. He stayed at the Hotel Beausejour in downtown. So it's very cool. Yeah, it was nice to see someone from away that's come to visit and has made a connection through me. I like that. And here are the stamps, including the new waterfall stamp. We got a Marilyn Monroe stamp there too. So thank you, Jason. I like it a lot. All right, this next card comes from the Netherlands. I'm just trying to fix the bottom here. We've got a nice hedgehog postcard. This is actually an English postcard, which I didn't know too much. It's on almost everybody's profiles as cards they like to receive. And they usually have the two older women on the cards in the caricatures. So those are English, but this is an English that doesn't have the two ladies on it. And Jan is 78 years old. He's retired, lives with his wife, and they try to stay healthy, but not always easy. Yeah, it's not always easy, especially in this crazy world we live in now. I agree 100% with your sentiment there. But doing the best you can and moving forward is all we can do. There are the beautiful stamps, including a football or a soccer stamp. So thank you, Jan, for that and for giving me some information about English, because I see it on everybody's profile. I don't have any of them to trade with anyone, but it is good to know about them. All right, the last official one I have also comes from the Netherlands, and it's kind of special. Look at this. Not that they aren't all special, but this one here with the prehistoric, the mammal, the mammoths, 2 of the stamps, and you can see this long bar is actually an attachment to this. So it would have been a souvenir sheet that probably had this right up on it, as well as this tab, and then maybe a couple of the stamps. I'm not sure if this is the whole series or if there's more to it than that, but it's fantastic. And then when you open it up, I had to open it up from the bottom because the stamps run across the top and I didn't want to damage them by sliding it open. And this was the card that was inside. So also looks like stamps. It's not, these aren't real stamps. This one is. This is a real stamp to make it kind of a maxi card. And this comes from Gerda, and she lives in a small village in the northern province. She's married. They have a son and daughter, and they are already older and have moved out. And she works as a food inspection person, and in their city of Groningen, and it's the same place as their province. She collects stamps since she was little and likes to read Feel Good and play the bass drum, and is a volunteer at different places. So thank you, Gerda, for that. And Gerda wasn't done. She sent me something special. She sent me a first day issue, first day cover, and this is part of the Kinder Post. I did a post a long time ago. I had another special, a friend in Netherlands send me a bunch of things that she put together, including stamps about these that come out periodically that are kind of charity stamps for children's foundations. I really like them. They're really cool. So thank you, Gerda, for that. And thank you for giving me your address too, so I can write you back. And same with Jan on this one here. I will write both of them back. If I get official cards that have return addresses, I try to give them a note back if they like it, especially if they indicate that they're stamp collectors or something and have a common interest with me. All right, let's move along to the official, to the direct swaps that I got, excuse me. This first one comes from Sweden. It comes from Katja, and she had this one here. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. I've got a bunch of stickers like this, and I've been putting them on cards too that have sayings that hopefully I think are appropriate for the people that I send them to. I wanted to showcase that stamp. Really nice. So thank you, Katja, for that. She wasn't done though. She sent another card. Let me just grab it here. Lucky Luke. How many of you guys have heard of the cartoon Lucky Luke? I had not, but she says she loved watching Lucky Luke when she was a kid. The Dalton brothers were her faves. So, and then she asked me what I enjoyed watching when I had my childhood days. So I responded. Now, there are the Swedish stamps that she has on that. Thank you very much, Katja, for that. I appreciate it. And learning something new about Lucky Luke. All right, then I received this envelope. This was from a subscriber. And there's the stamp, uncanceled. But you can see across the back, I don't know if you can, it did go through the machine, so just didn't cancel the stamp. So this comes from Eric, and Eric made some cards. He lives in Ontario. He lives in London, Ontario, to be exact. And he says he made this card, and he got it done at Staples. So my first experience making postcards too, I went to Staples. I got my That Dad Guy postcards made there, the original batch. I found the paper was a little thin, so he finds the same thing, but they work. I mean, this showcases his city. It's the right size. It's perfect for doing that. He even put a stamp on the back, classic stamp, even though it didn't require it because he put it in an envelope. He says so much cheaper to send cards within Canada. It certainly is. And so it's 92 cents to send it within Canada. If we send it abroad, it is $2.71. So big difference. A little cheaper sending it to the United States. We kind of have a close agreement. It's only $1.30 to send it to the US. Everything else is considered abroad. So even though Mexico is right there, it'd be $2.71 to go to Mexico. So yeah. This is what do you think of the card? The card is good. Yeah, it is good. And he sent another one. He made this one because he made it a little bit different size. So he messed up in the measurements, he said, but that's all right. It's still good. It still gives a nice impression of his city. So good job, Eric. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sending me the cards and ask me what you think. I would suggest, though, if the thickness bothers you and you're looking for a good place, go to Canva. So it's free online to put everything together, and then the prices for printing and the paper, it's very much reasonable if you want to get a good lot of the same type of card. So now if you're only doing a one-off card, Staples still might be a lot cheaper, or it is a lot cheaper to do it that way, or maybe a local printing place, or even Walmart. Sometimes you can just print off one card on a sheet, or get 3 cards on one sheet of paper. But if you want something with thicker paper, Canva, I would suggest. All right, moving on to the next person. This one is Erin in Colorado. So she sends this card. Reason I do that, it's a tin card. This is my first tin card, Colorado. She wanted to thank me for sending her one of those enormous panoramic cards that I had. She didn't have to send it, but I appreciate this. I always like getting new types of cards, whether it be wooden cards or I don't know, big cards, shaped cards. The variety is what I like, is that there's so many different things that are out there. And on the back, she also says that she's starting a new job. So congratulations. Good luck with the new job. And there are the stamps. Thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate the tin card. First of my collection. You get the first. All right. This next card comes from Germany. It comes from Julianne. We've got some hay bales. So lots of hay bales around here as well. She says she's getting close to her favorite season, which is autumn. I am finding a lot of postcrossers that love autumn. What I love is this stamp. It's a 2-part stamp, so she sent me both parts. They're joined together, so you get the full image. So thank you, Julianne, for that card. I'm choking on something. I'm choking on excitement, I think. All right, moving on. A land of hay bales as well. This is from Helen in PEI. She sent me this vintage Louisburg card, which is in Nova Scotia, actually, not in Prince Edward Island, but she lives in Prince Edward Island. There is the stamp, uncancelled, on the back. She asked if I've ever been here. I have. I actually took my kids here. It's been a couple of years back now. We're looking maybe 5 years ago now, but had a good time at Louisburg. But the famous saying that came out by Ari when we were there, that we've used ever since, was we were walking through all the museum stuff inside. Louisburg is a recreation fort, the French fortress, so, and with live actors, role players around, and things inside that you can read that tell you, what the mill was like, or what the blacksmith shop was like. And we were going through, and I said to Ari, or someone said to Ari, I'm not sure how the story went 100%, but let's say, I said to Ari, you're not reading any of the things. And he says, I'm on vacation. There's no reading on vacation. And so we did Louisburg in a record-setting time, because if you're just walking through the buildings and you're not reading all the placards, it doesn't take you very long to walk through buildings if you're not taking in all the information that they're trying to give you at the same time. So whenever we're at some function, we're on vacation, and maybe we're sitting down to a meal, you kind of ask one person what you want. If they look at the menu, you say, we're on vacation. There's no reading on vacation. So that's an Ariism that we've kept on doing. All right, moving on. This next card comes from Carl in Austria. So he was at a meetup recently. And so he sent me one of these meetup cards. And you can see that it was on September the 2nd in Vienna. And on the back, you can see all the attendees, including some other friends that you might know that are on there as well, that I get correspondence from. So it's nice to see their monikers there. It makes me, whenever I see these, it makes me think I need to get a smaller That Dad Guy stamp. Luckily, the meetups that I've gone to already have been smaller numbers, because my stamp would probably take up this much space on the card. So when I see all these little ones, you can see if I was to go to a meetup with 20 people and I took up this much of the card, it wouldn't be much good for everybody else, unfortunately. So just a thought. Anyways, get back to the topic at hand. Look at the cancellation matching the new stamp. And you're going to mention that because You watch that stamp, it's going to show up again. So Carl sent me another card, The Life of a Postcrosser. I really like this too, showing the cycle that we go through with mail being sent out and mail coming back. It's almost, it reminds me of the, if you watch the collaboration video that I did with Snail Mail with Smokey, he asked me about a design for a postage stamp that I talked about, the Canadian postage stamp, and I wanted to kind of do a circular thing. This kind of has that circular feel to it as well. And on the back, we have that stamp again and that cancellation. So he says that they were having rainy weather in Austria and that he wanted to send the new Austrian postage stamp, which he's done twice now. While I'm in Austria, I might as well say that Anita sent me a card. She was at the same meetups as Carl, but knew that Carl was sending me a postcard from there, so she wanted to send me something different, which I appreciate. But kind of the same theming. You can see the car. She's got that stamp on there too. Now it doesn't have that cancellation, but we do have that stamp. And so thank you, Anita, for going to the meetups, connecting with people that I know while you were there, and then realizing, hey, if they're sending that card already to me, that she would send me something different, so I wasn't getting a whole bunch of the exact same cards. I don't mind getting a bunch of them, especially if it means I'm getting correspondence from my friends, but it's nice to have a variety too, if you know. All right, this next card is it was interesting that this card showed up. This comes from Andre and Merritt, and they're in Estonia, but at the time they were in New Caledonia. And why I thought this was interesting is because it was just recently that I did a video from Ambre in France, who grew up in New Caledonia. I had never heard of it, the island that belongs to France, that was part of the French colonies at one point in time. So it's off the coast of Australia, in that area, Australia, New Zealand. So they happen to be there. Look at those stamps. Ambre sent me a packet of stamps, so I did a little thing all about the history of the country and its independence, or its connection. I don't want to say independence, its connection to France. How's that? Go back and watch the video. I'm not going to give away all the details, but I thought really cool. Merritt and Andre were here. They sent me a card while they were there. You can see the cancellations with New Caledonia on it as well. Cool, cool. All right. Speaking of Ambre, she sent me a postcard as well. So this one's from France. This is Cap Ferret. It's a very famous peninsula in France, especially since the release of Guillaume's Canet Mouvet Les Petits Mouchoirs, which I have never heard of, but I'm sure it is very popular in France. It may be popular in French Canada too. I don't know. I've not seen it. I have to look it up. It says it also, the Dunes de Pilat right here in the background, also very famous. And so she's been vacationing by the sea. That's why she wanted to send me this. There are the stamps, nice blueberry stamp. This is a nice stamp too, Vieux de Lyon. Thank you, and all the artwork on there and stickers. She wasn't done though. She sent another card. This one made me laugh. So here it says, "You're not coming to the party? I have a cold. I don't want to get anyone sick," says the hamster. The next scene, hamster stuck in a hamster ball. Everybody's at the party. So my kind of sense of humor, I appreciate it. So thank you so much. She thanks me for the cards and gives me a nice little message on the back talking about her her vacation. And there are the stamps that she chose. I like this one here. You can see they've been pen canceled, unfortunately, but I still get the gist. They look nice. All right, moving on. All right, I'd gotten a message from Media in Finland saying that she sent me a bunch of postcards, and none of them seem to be arriving. They've arrived. I don't know if they've all arrived, but a bunch of them certainly have arrived. So if you've been missing some of her postcards being in my videos the last couple of weeks, fear not, they have arrived. This one is a post-crossing meetup that she went to. Nice nature scene. You can see the starting of new saplings here. And on the back, Said this was from a Finnish Nature Day meetup. I like the stamp. You can see odd shape, and it pops out just so you can get the island, not the island, the Finnish map on the corner from a famous Finnish cartoon. And then, oh, there's all the meetup participants, in case you just happen to be one of them. Say, I was there, show my stamp. Well, there you did, I've shown your stamp. This was the next card that shows up, Helsinki. Winter views of Helsinki, Finland. And then she said it was a bit colder here, and I noticed it's getting chillier here too. But she said they had a first day event coming up. And there's the stamp with the cancellation. It's a better view of the cancellation too. And then she sent me this first day cover of the NATO stamp. You can see the cancellation at the top. And inside, she sent me a Tausendchen card, a fish. Renee may appreciate this one. She's asking whether I'd received some of my other cards that she had sent. Well, I'm certainly receiving them now. Then she sent this one for Finnair, 100 years. Special cancellation for that as well. And inside this envelope, she sent me this one, kind of a gardener's dream. You can see how it's raining and snowing and all the different weather that she is gardening in, and just looking up at the rays of sunshine that she needs to for her plants. That's kind of what we're experiencing right now, I think, all the different seasonal things that are happening. I haven't got snow yet, so that's good. And then inside, she found this, which I hadn't seen before, a little packet for Lego. And I wondered what it was, whether they were playing cards or something. There was stuff that Jilly B sent me once, that in one of her grocery stores she found kind of these trading cards. Well, she has found these Lego stickers. So I think they're all numbered on the back. So I think there's probably a sticker album that you probably could buy, a collector sticker album. I remember doing this for hockey cards at one point, or hockey stickers. And you would buy packs of stickers hoping to find all the ones that matched your book, and then you peel them off and you stick them in the book. So that's what I'm assuming these go to, that there is a giant sticker album out there that you can put all these stickers in. So thank you for seeing Lego, thinking of me, and picking one of these packets up. It is something we don't have here, and I'm sure that there are many children that are looking for these to complete their albums. Thank you very much. So we slide those away and go to the next envelope, which is still from Media in Finland. And is this one here with the stamp. And inside she sent this card, very sparkly. It's not tin, but it's kind of overlaid with some metallic to give it that sparkle. Very nice. And these stickers, I think I should know. I've seen them. They're not Rugrats, but she's got one on the card as well. And there's a sticker there. It kind of matches up. So if you know the cartoon, let me know. Now, I do know this cartoon. It's another envelope from Media. And it's Angry Birds. And if you look closely at the stamp, you see how it goes just beyond the shape of a normal rectangle. So in my opinion, that makes that one super special. You can see the bomb comes out here and out at the top. Love it. Way to go. Finish post. And then here we have a card. I don't know if you can see it moving. There, that's better. Dancing. So I said this dog, Lotto, is popular in Estonia. So that's where this comes from. All right. Thank you so much, Maria, for all the stuff. Now, I have two more things that showed up. First one came from Renee Lewis, part of the Unicorn Gang. She sent me this envelope. And in the envelope, she had recently gone with Well, she went for a vacation to Graceland. If you don't know what Graceland is, it's Elvis Presley's home. And she bought a bunch of postcards. And if the number that she put here, which is 132 postcards, if she bought that many postcards, you're crazy, Renee. Why did you buy so many postcards? Yeah, a lot of people like Elvis. So what she did was she sent me a collection of the Elvis postcards that I can send off to people that may enjoy Elvis. They're all blank. Like this one here. This card she actually sent to me, so she bought some duplicates because she sent me this one. But this one's blank, so I can send it to somebody else. Taking care of business, the last one. So thank you very much, Renee, for sharing your haul of the Elvis stamps. And I hope you had a fantastic time at Graceland. It is one of those places that I'd like to see at one point. Now, I'm not the hugest fan of Elvis Presley. I do appreciate his music and his influence on music, but I'd rather listen to the Beatles than I would Elvis, but that's just my take. All right, the final thing I got was this envelope. It came from Wendy here in Canada, and she also sent me a couple postcards. First, she sent me 2 of this, and this is Fort Beausejour here in New Brunswick. So as you get really close to the Nova Scotia border, this fort used to be there. It's just remnants now. I mean, you have the moat all around. You can see where it was. Inside this building, there's a museum, so it talks about the whole history and shows pictures. And you can go through some of the buildings that are left inside. And so, yeah, it would be really nice if this was rebuilt back like the Citadel in Halifax, but I don't think it ever will. It's just a piece of history that's showing the remnants. And then she sent me a couple recipe cards. Poutine's trove. Do you know what that is? There you go. And there's the recipe at the top. So I got 2 of those that will go off to someone at some point in time. And then finally, another Fort Beausejour card. This is the building where you can go in. It's the museum inside of it. So the Chateau Style Visitor Center, they call it. That was built in the 1930s. So it doesn't necessarily go exactly with the fort of the time, but kind of built in an old style too, so 18th century. So thank you, Wendy, for picking up a few postcards for me. I really appreciate it. And put those aside. That's it. That's all I got. That's more than enough. I'm sure you're thinking, boy, this is a long video. Well, lots of stuff came in, so I was very happy to show you all of it. And there's a lot of news that's been going on lately, so I wanted to make sure you got my take on that as well. All right, tomorrow is That Dad Guy Answers. So if you've got questions for me, leave them in my last Saturday's video, part 83, and I'll answer them tomorrow in part 84. You guys have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?